go on for long. Question is, did it need to happen at all? Christine, thank you for the reporting on that. And boy, oh, what a difference a day makes. Take a listen to this.
When this fails, will you vote for a one-week clean zero?
How dare you presume a failure? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you presume a failure? The fact is, this country is based on people saying they won't do things, and at the end of the day, coming together for compromise.
That's Darrell, Issa, California Republican and chairman of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, chiding a reporter for thinking a government shutdown would happen. Well, of course it has, and Darrell Issa is one of the reasons why it happened. He joins us now. Congressman, thank you for joining us on the show, but allow me to ask you, what happened to that guy? The guy who was disgusted at even the idea of a shutdown, who said it's all about compromise. What happened to him?
He's still here. He's sitting here, but the president refused to compromise. Senator Reid hasn't even... He's already said he's not going to go to conference. He's not going to go to the constitutional event where we're supposed to come together and compromise. Understand, the president has on his own, virtually once a month for 8 months, found reasons to delay all kinds of the mandates. All we're trying to do is keep the American people from being forced into buying into exchanges before they even are up and running or we know how much they cost. So, is it small? Yes, it's small. Is it worth a shutdown? Of course not. But the president has, the Senate has, compromised that we've gone back and forth. Remember, the last 2 times we've sent something to the Senate, instead of coming back with a counteroffer, they've simply tabled it. We have an opportunity to come with compromise. We're asking for it. And if the Senate at 9:30 this morning opens up and rejects the offer to have a conference, which is an offer to go to compromise, then they're rejecting the constitutional process. It's certainly not us. Speaker Boehner wants to get to a resolution. He has said so. Maybe 17 years ago it was different, but House Republicans want to have something that protects American private sector jobs, and we're trying to get it again and again.
The constitutional mandate is not to accede to your wishes on legislation that's already passed. You know that, and you did shut down the government.
Well, Chris,
there's no reason to be glib about that. But I have a question.
I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to let you have a pass on that.
You're not letting me have a pass. You just said a shutdown isn't worth it, but you shut down the government.
We originate funding. This is a constitutional responsibility. It takes the House and the Senate to pass legislation. The president has said that unions are getting a pass on implementation as of today. All we're saying is that the American worker should get a 2, 3, 5 month, whatever delay. Give the American worker opportunity to see what's in the exchanges before they're forced into it. That's all we're asking.
It is a strong point. It needs debate. Arguably, it needs fixing, but it is also separate from what's going on. You want to use the phrase constitutional mandate. I applaud you for using it. However, the mandate is for you to fund the government, not for you to not fund the government. And that's a decision you made here, and you made it for the political reasons that you lay out. And what I want to ask you is,
Chris,
if
bless
Speaker
your heart,
Boehner,
but not funding the government is part of funding it. If you have the right to fund the government, you have the right to fund the government to a lesser amount. Remember,
no, but you're not funding it. You shut it down. And it's been done by Democrats, too.
Tip O'Neill shut down the government 7 times because President Reagan wouldn't agree to his excess spending.
And that was...
If you can shut down because you don't get enough money spent, you can also have a discussion about spending too much. You can have a discussion not just about what we spend, but we can have a discussion about what it costs the American people.
And that's a fair point.
Understand, the Senate won't go to compromise. We're asking for an opportunity to have compromise between the House and the Senate. And Harry Reid is listening to the president and not doing what senators do. Senators generally are more willing to compromise than House members. In this case, the Republican-led House is more willing to compromise than the Senate or the president.
I understand the point, Representative, and I appreciate you being here, and I'm trying to be respectful. We're on a two-way, so communication gets a little thing. I'm sorry to step on you so much, but I got a couple of questions.
Sure, of course.
You are driving this bus. You can blame all you want, and the Democrats certainly share responsibility. The president's leadership, certainly an issue. But you are driving the bus on what happens with the shutdown. The mandate is to fund the government. And I have a question. If Speaker Boehner had put up a clean resolution to fund the government without any attachments last night, the word is it would have passed, but he didn't do it. Do you believe it would have passed if it had been put up by the Speaker?
I certainly believe that the House is prepared to go in negotiations. If they would agree to go to conference but take our bill we sent over last night, change it, and agree to go to conference and send us back a 10-day turn back on the government, I strongly believe that House leadership would go for it. We certainly would love to have 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, if that's what it takes to conference some of these differences on protecting American jobs. But we didn't get a counteroffer that says, stay open for 10 days, go to conference. So what we got from Harry Reid is, I won't even consider going to conference, and oh, by the way, I'll let the government shut down because I've gone to bed. That's what we got last night. I personally would vote for 10 days, even 30 days if that was necessary, so we could resolve these differences. But these are important differences. You understand, Obamacare is the law of the land, but it doesn't mean that it's perfect or it's ready for prime time or it won't hurt American jobs. And I think that's something that House leadership is concerned about. We've said we don't want to shut down the government, but we do want to protect American workers from being forced into something that's not yet ready.
But you do need to acknowledge, Representative, for all of the analysis that you've just provided, which can all be 100% sound, you did shut down the government. It is hurting families, many of whom live on the margins, and you know that. And I want to ask you if you think that that was wrong.
Well, you can't accuse me of beating my wife and then turn around and tell me, isn't that true? We did not shut down the government. We offered to the Senate again and again things to keep the government fully funded. We have said we want to go to conference. We want to have a discussion about the delay of portions of Obamacare for a short period of time in order to get it right. We know that the vast majority of senators agree with us. They're simply being told, don't cross your president. Any change to Obamacare, unless President Obama makes the change, which he's done more than half a dozen times, is unacceptable. The American people want compromise. We're saying we want compromise. This morning at 9:30, when the Senate opens, they have an opportunity to have a discussion with us openly about the things that we need to do to get this government open again. I would vote for a short-term CR in order to have that conference pass. I know the Speaker and the leadership would too. But we're not dealing with that. We're dealing with my way or the highway, no changes to Obamacare, even if they're hurting the American worker or they're forcing people into a program that's not yet defined. So I understand everyone wants to say that the reason that federal workers at the parks aren't there is because of Republicans, but it's not. We've given every single time an opportunity for compromise, and we're not even getting counteroffers.
I got you. There's plenty of blame to go around. I can't wait for word that the vote has been done so that people start getting paid again. Representative Issa, thank you very much for coming on New Day. I appreciate you taking the opportunity.
Thank you, Chris.